Welcome to The Nine, an era of transformation. I'm Ebony Brandon. Dr. Geoffery Hanley, a devoted family man and community leader, has dedicated his life to public service. Now as the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, Youth Empowerment, Housing and Human Settlement, Ecclesiastical and Faith-Based Affairs, Social Development, Gender Affairs, Aging and Disabilities, Dr. Hanley is a relentless advocate for youth and the elderly. His deep-rooted values of integrity and respect, shaped by his faith, have earned him widespread admiration. In this episode of The Nine, an era of transformation, we explore Dr. Hanley's vision for education, housing, and his community, and delve into the heart of a man whose work speaks of patriotism, passion, and progress as he continues to build bridges, advocate for justice, and improve the lives of those he serves.
Dr. Geoffery Hanley wears many hats: Deputy Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Minister of Education, Youth Empowerment, Housing and Human Settlement, Ecclesiastical and Faith-Based Affairs, Social Development, Gender Affairs, Aging and Disabilities. He also serves as co-deputy leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, alongside Conress Maynard. Before discussing his government responsibilities, we explored the dramatic political circumstances that preceded the fall of the previous administration. This upheaval led to early elections in 2022, nearly 3 years ahead of schedule. A deeply spiritual man grounded in his Christian faith, Dr. Hanley shared that he wasn't entirely surprised by these events. He believes the change in government was guided by forces beyond human intervention.
From my point of view, it was a matter of us working as a team. We had our political strategic plan in place, and we meant that we were going to work it. I should also add that a prophetic word was given to me, which I shared with my colleagues. Some, of course, were very shocked because they kept on asking me, what am I talking about? And I explained to them while I was in church, the pastor preaching her sermon picked me out in the middle of a sermon and called me up to the altar. And she continued preaching while I stood there, and I was like, what is going on? And then she turned to me and she said, the Lord just said to tell you to get ready, because in 2 years there'll be elevation. So from 2020, I knew that in 2022, something was going to happen, and I constantly said that to my team, my colleagues. And as I said, we worked the strategy. It was a case where it was felt as well that the country needed us based on the message that we were spreading throughout the country. And today we are here. I'm governing for the past 2 years.
Now, coming to office in the middle of somebody else's administration provided some very unique circumstances that you also had to navigate too. We were coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic. St. Kitts and Nevis was already in a unique situation where our borders remained closed much longer than many others in the OECS. So the economic rebound was an issue to be dealt with. There were other issues like the Bastille High School and others that had not been completed. And so there was an expectation, high expectations for the new administration. For you going in August of 2022, there was no time to waste. What was your mindset, particularly after you had been given your appointments?
Indeed, it was an opportunity for me to go straight into my passion, being one in education and in social development and community development. So it was a case where one had to assess the situation. I did a lot of psychological assessment as well, making sure that I was au fait with what was happening before you make any kind of strategic move. And the Ministry of Education work, it's guided by the Education Sector Plan. That is one of 2017 to 2021, which is very thorough and it is still relevant. So in the midst of what you were thinking about getting done, you had somewhat of a guide that assisted you in ensuring that you made the right footing. So it was an opportunity for me as well to engage with all of these stakeholders in education and my various ministries, but in this instance I'll speak on education first. So it was about us establishing the direction in which we want to take the ministry, and the senior management team is a very hard working team, and they were tasked with the responsibility of reviewing the action plan, and we recognize that only 1/3 of it was accomplished. As you mentioned, there were major infrastructural projects such as the Basia High School, where millions of dollars were spent and nothing had been started. So that was a critical situation we had to deal with, and there were some critical positions within the Ministry of Education and other ministries that we had to fill in order to carry out the mandate that was expected of us. But because of my personality and my passion, as I indicated, it wasn't a hard task for me to jump right in to my ministries, as big as they are, and get the work done, because of course it was not only about making the mark in St. Kitts, but I also had an obligation to do that for the region as well, in terms of ensuring that we are compliant with what all of that is expected of us in the region as well.
With the Federation still reeling from the pandemic, Dr. Hanley and his team faced a race against time, particularly in education. The lockdowns had disrupted children's education in ways no one could have predicted. Administratively, only about 1/3 of a strategic education plan had been implemented, and despite millions spent by the former government in taxpayer funds, the promised new Bastyr High School had not materialized. As a retired educator with vast experience in management and leadership, these issues were a top priority for Dr. Hanley. He outlined his approach as he set about addressing these urgent challenges.
There was the sector plan that acted as a guide or the blueprint for education. Some work was done, but of course it was evident that there were a lot more work that needed to be done. If I can highlight, for example, when I walked around some of the schools being introduced to the various leadership in the schools, and I saw the condition of the infrastructure of our schools, I mean, it was a real depressing situation. I inherited schools, and I can be specific, the Keon High School in particular, which in recent time was a high topic. I inherited that school where there were blocks where there were no windows, no doors, no electrical fittings, and right away we decided as a team that we are going to tackle these issues. There was a case where in certain instances staff would have been demoralized for various reasons, and there were a number of low-hanging fruits that in a quick time I was able to get done, which made or showed or indicated to the Ministry of Education and our teachers that I was very serious about the task ahead. I am not a complainer. I view myself as a doer. So once I see something and I'm determined, after praying as well about it, I go after it, and it must be done.
Regarding the completion of the remaining 70% of the Strategic Education Plan, which was originally set to run from 2017 to 2021, Dr. Hanley is confident it will be finished before the end of his first term in office in 2027.
Well, I want to believe, based on the timing that we have, we would be able to accomplish just about all of it. And that is because, of course, the leadership sat as a team to look at the various areas that they are going to be focusing on. and they are on target because for this year, the theme that we are working with is transforming education through self-renewal, holistic partnerships, and digital solutions. So through all just the theme alone, we should be able to accomplish what was set out and even accomplish more than what would have been physically written. Because when you look at areas that we are focusing on now almost coming to an end, you have the professionalizing of our teaching profession, which is led by Mrs. Carla Diamond, our Chief Education Planner. I mean, this is supported by UNESCO, but this is to give teachers that, what should I say, I don't want to use, that special touch of a recognition that they are professional. Their job is a professional job and it must be respected. So all of these we are hoping to see happen through the next quarter, the next half.
Having assessed the state of education and coming to office in August 2022, Minister Hanley identified several factors behind the system's decline, including less than ideal management under the previous government. These issues were only worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite these challenges, however, early successes followed, including the reintroduction of a more advanced one-to-one laptop initiative, originally launched during the Dr. Denzel Douglas administration.
And why I say this now, because of the management or the leadership of the day who did not have the vision of what the former Labour administration had. In particular, I speak specifically to the one-to-one laptops. So here is where the Ministry of Education got a big hit during that period, because we, as you know, Ebony, the former Labour administration introduced the one-to-one laptops. The government changed, and they claim it was a waste of money, it was unnecessary, but COVID proved the matter to be that it was a case where the laptops, and had we continued that laptop program, our students would have been further ahead, because it was very depressing for me knowing that this was an opportunity for our students to advance in the technology that the world is advancing to, and a government cuts it off, and other governments and countries that are doing worse than us economically, they were able to give their students the devices. So that to me was a very painful moment, and I made up my mind when elected, because I wasn't doubting. I knew that I would have been elected, just as I know I would not lose an election that easy unless I give it up. I knew that the one-to-one laptops must be something that I had to bring back. And I'm happy to report that this is back on stream, a little bit more advanced, because from the company Fortuna Picks, it is not just a laptop or device or tablet that the student has. It is one that is very interactive. The books are downloaded, the exercises are downloaded, they can take quizzes on it. Teachers can also get access to lesson plans, and most importantly, parents as well, they can go online and know when their children are using the devices, and even the subject areas that are given the problem. The last report I got in terms of the making sure that they're being used, they are highly used, and the mathematics and language arts, that's the area that is used most often. So I am happy that we were able to do that. And then again, because of the situation we had at the Keon High School, we were able to move the students to remote learning in the transition period. So these were some of the things that I had to navigate through in terms of the infrastructure. There were bathrooms that were unkept. I'm not speaking badly about any individual or bodies, but I had to make a difference in that area, and to date we have spent almost $2.3 million on renovating some of our bathroom. We have already completed 5, and it is an ongoing thing because we feel that these are areas in the whole education as fun, or as we call it, our schools being friendly schools. We have to make sure that our bathrooms are well kept. So there was a great emphasis on ensuring that we upgraded the worst bathrooms in this instance, but over a period of time, we're going to touch all of the bathroom, including teachers' bathroom, because it was appalling to see the state of some of the bathrooms for teachers.
At this point, Minister Hanley had mentioned the situation at Keon High School several times. A report published before the Dr. Terence Drew government took office identified health and infrastructural concerns at the school, including mold and outdated bathroom conditions, that demanded urgent attention. While the previous administration made some interventions, they were not enough to fully resolve the problem. Much like the Bastyr High School issue a decade ago, the Drew government enlisted reputable local and regional health agencies to assess the situation and provide updated recommendations. However, as with the BHS case, the Keon High School issue became political rather than being embraced as an opportunity for national and community leaders to collaborate for the health and well-being of the school's large student body and faculty.
As I indicated, the state that I inherited that school, even before the situation where we had the mold, a lot of work would have been done. It so happened that, of course, as you rightly said, persons were trying to politicize the Keon High School, and there wasn't any need for that because the situation was not a detrimental one. It was one that we must pay concerns to because of the level of molds that were found there, and it was basically, from what I was told at the time, would have been the bread and cheese mold, which stems from the food and droppings and that kind of stuff. So after we would have found out about the situation, the Ministry of Education is very responsible, and immediately we put our action plan in place as to how we were going to address this situation. We were very transparent with what was happening. We did not hide any information from the teachers, the management team, and even the teachers union, because they too got involved. And it was such a relationship that they demanded, or they asked or requested to have an independent tester go in the school, and the government facilitated that, and the results came back just about the same. And we did extensive cleaning and testing and retesting there. Right now the school is at I would say 90% ready. The reason why I did not say 100%, because the last set of cleaning that was done in 3 spaces, those results are to come back. But we are confident, based on the work that was done over there, that it would be a space that they would again be able to use, because I went over there and I was there among the persons who were cleaning, and I was helping because I wanted to be a part of the experience. And some of the things that I saw going forward, this is a learning experience for us, because out of this, I mandated the maintenance team in the Ministry of Education that every term they're going to see to it that school clean their spaces. Because a lot of it was cases where even food containers were left in a corner, accidentally forgot to probably throw away, and things built up and that kind of stuff. So we spent quite a lot of money as well in the Keon High School, just to bring it into perspective. When I had the meeting with the teachers, there were some low-hanging fruits that I asked them about, because after the Bureau Standard visited the school and shared the results, I mean, the results are the results and they are accredited organization. And we must give them credit as well, because they were really on board with us, ensuring that we got what we wanted done, even when we were pressing them based on even the overwork load. Mr. Laplace and his team really came on board. And what was so transparent about this, Ebony, I must say to you, in 2019 there was a similar situation at the Keon High School, and results were hid from the staff. They knew nothing about what those results were, and we were happy that they came on board. And those low-hanging fruits, I was able, in the same meeting that I had with the teachers, the very next day, they wanted electrical outlets in their classrooms. They were complaining about the heat, which is, of course, a universal complaint. The Prime Minister sent fans over. We were able to get the electrical work started. It is yet to be completed. So at the end of it, there would be a whole electrical upgrade over in the Keon High School. So over $1 million have been spent in that school in 2 years. And when you look on our books, over the 7 years or 9 years prior to, that amount of money was not spent. And it is our plan to make sure that our schools are upgraded. Similarly, as you ask about the infrastructure, $2.6 million was spent in the Charles E. Secondary School just on the electrical upgrades alone. We gave them a brand new bathroom, just as we did in Keon, which was close to probably $400,000. At the Charles E. Mills Secondary School, we upgraded their cafeteria. So we have been going from school to school, touching as many as we can with the little that we have to spend. And it is a plea as well for me to indicate to teachers that the Ministry of Education understands the situation, and I ask you to give us that continued patience as you see us navigate through this, touching each and every school in some areas.
The inescapable issue at this point was the Bastyr High School. Following the 2015 election, political observers pointed to this as a factor in the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party's inability to reclaim the government. Mold was identified in some buildings, and improvements to the grounds, including the removal of overgrown bushes, were needed. However, after a series of illnesses affected students and faculty, the issue became highly politicized. Reputable international and regional agencies, including the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health NIOSH and the Caribbean Public Health Agency CARFA, conducted thorough investigations, finding no link between the school's conditions and the reported medical complaints. This controversy led to the closure of the school, and for the next decade, students were displaced into temporary classrooms. The previous administration promised a new state-of-the-art facility, but despite spending tens of millions of dollars over 7 years, the school never materialized. Now, the new Minister of Education, Dr. Hanley, has taken action and provided an update on the status and future of the new Bastyr High School.
Well, in 2025-2026, you will definitely have advanced work on that old site. At the Bastyr High School, I am pleased to announce that we have a Kittitian investor who has started the work in ensuring that we get a state-of-the-art Bastyr High School. We say in high school, but he describes it as a university campus. And that design was already shared with the leadership of the Bastyr High School on several occasions for their input as well. And the planning division here in St. Kitts also weighed in. What is nice about this is that we had two of our local architects here working along with the company that would be delivering the school, which is a very proud moment for us because it was Kittishon stamp on this project. It is one that when it starts, I have been told that it's an 18-month turnkey project, give or take. You never can tell what can happen, but I'm hoping in just under 2 years, the school would be fully opened and functional. And again, I am happy for where we are, and also want to thank the Basse High School leadership, Mr. Bacchus and his team, for their patience, because this is about 10 years that they have been waiting for something like this to happen, and we are much, much closer than we started. It's unfortunate that no school was ever delivered after spending $21 million alone, just as I said in the campaign, just managing dirt. $21 million. But what was unique as well about this design, we ensured that everything that the other Basse High School was delivering, it's included, and we advanced it even to more spaces and more opportunities, because with the new Basse High School, I also want us to get into a new mindset, because it is not going to be a territorial space, meaning, yes, it's a Basse High School, but after we outfit it, for example, let's say with 2 music theaters, we cannot put another music theater in the Keon High School or the Sadlers. It therefore means that students from the Keon High or the Sadlers or Verchilds High who are doing music would have that opportunity to be bused to the Basse High School theater, music theater, so that they can access the opportunity. There's a unique feature as well that we have in terms of a driving school simulation room where students would be able to start driving while they're in high school. Now, we can't put one of these in all of the schools. So this again is another opportunity for us to see our high school students, integrating on all levels in terms of the academics and sports. Not only when they're playing one another, there's this rivalry, but they can sit in the same spaces with other students from other schools to accomplish the same task. So the Basse High School will be delivered, and I want to express my sincere thanks as well to the cabinet for their continued support. In person's mind, they might be saying it's too long, but these are things that take a lot of time, because the design alone take months into probably a year in terms of perfecting the design and making sure that it is in compliance with all that is expected in terms of building codes and all of that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is, I made a promise that we will deliver the school, and the school will be delivered.
Dr. Hanley highlighted the Ministry of Education's progressive approach to ensuring that all children, including those with neurological and developmental delays, have access to modern education systems that provides the support they need to thrive. This is backed by ongoing efforts to remove any remaining barriers to accessing the free education the government provides, from daycare to college. These efforts include expanding the school bus fleet and offering advanced training for educators.
We also had the introduction of some sensory rooms in early childhood. Never in the history of the education system we had these things, because as you're aware, Ebony, we have a situation where there's an increase in our students or our children being placed on the spectrum, and we have to act and lend that support. And I'm pleased to note, report as well, that apart from the sensory rooms that we provided for our students to reconnect, calm down, and build themselves up, we have been offering training as well to our teachers in autism, because like I said, this is something unique, and everybody don't know how to deal with these things. So we have been providing them with some training. Of course, we need to do more, and the training must also be advanced training. And when I traveled on behalf of the Prime Minister, one of the bilateral meetings that I had, I also had a discussion with Dalhousie University, and I raised this as a concern. And this year, a few weeks ago, they visited the Federation, and they were able to provide us with the connection of resources that we will be able to get our teachers trained, certified in various areas, and it wasn't any cost. So I am very happy about that. And of course, you know, we invested in 2 new school buses. So and we have 2 electrical ones that are going to be here. So it's quite a lot that we have been doing. And while I'm on achievements, I must bring it as well. It was just on Friday that I had the privilege of signing the Memorandum of Understanding with the Open University of Tanzania. Again, when I traveled to Paris in November to the UNESCO conference, I lobbied for an opportunity for our trained teachers to move to another level in terms of attaining their bachelor's degrees, but who had indicated that they would prefer not to travel. And UNESCO came on board, and it was on Friday that I was able to witness the signing of that Memorandum of Understanding, where we secured 20 scholarships for teachers, and we are going to have them be trained in specific areas.
Dr. Hanley highlighted the government's significant investment in teachers, particularly through the Dr. Terence Rowe administration's embrace of technology as a part of the mission to create a sustainable island state. This ensures that technology is accessible not only to students, but to teachers as well, further removing barriers to enhancing their skills and academic qualifications.
Of course, beefing up, our infrastructure, our maintenance of our schools, and we are going to be going heavy on the IT aspect of our schools. In fact, we are just waiting on some equipment that will outfit one or two of the spaces at the AVEC as smart classrooms, because as we sign on the MOU, as I said, with the OUT, we have to make sure that we have the technology so that our teachers can come in one space, and they are also in Africa while they are in St. Kitts in their class. And of course, we are going to be pushing training in all areas. We have been doing a very good job with support from the embassy, the Taiwanese embassy, and we hope to continue this. I had the opportunity of being in pre-service training with our teachers, and then also have been in service. And like I was saying to them, this is an opportunity, a privilege that I need to gravitate to, because I started in 1989 and I did not have these kind of opportunities when I started teaching. So this is a great time for them to make sure that they become master teachers. So these are some of the things that we are hoping to cover in the next half of the school year.
For over a decade, the Caribbean Examinations Council has raised concerns about the declining performance of students in mathematics. Between 2018 and 2024, CXC reported that at least 11,500 students failed to pass both mathematics and English. In the May to June 2024 examination cycle, the pass rate for mathematics dropped to just 36%, down from 43% in 2023. St. Kitts and Nevis has not been immune to this trend. As a trained educator, Dr. Hanley shared his plan to address this issue, including providing more specialized training for teachers. He also offered expert insight into why this decline in mathematics performance may have taken root.
And this is part of the vision that I had in terms of an increase partnership with universities, whether it is in scholarships, whether it is in training, whatever opportunities. And I am happy that we have quite a number of them who came on board. You would have seen the Southern University, and I am also working closely with my alma mater, Florida Memorial University. They in fact indicated to me that they want to do some training specifically for our math teachers, because it is clear that mathematics regionally is a problem, and I am convinced that it's the method in how we teach the math. So we have started working on getting those resources to help us. I share this joke with you. I visited my math teacher, Mr. Stevens, living in New Pond site, my constituency, when his mother celebrated her 100th birthday, Nurse Stevens. And I was asking him, telling him, teacher, I need you to come and help me. But of course, I'm mindful of the fact that he's doing an excellent job taking care of his mom. And in the brief discussion, he said to me, Minister, you just have to start at the basic in the primary school. And that is part of the strategy that we are hoping to do as we continue to build on the areas that we need to build on in education.
He emphasized the importance of using the country's limited resources to efficiently maximize benefits, particularly for children. The Education Ministry conducted a thorough evaluation of all schools on St. Kitts to ensure the best outcomes for everyone. The minister also highlighted, once again, significant investments being made in the education system's infrastructure to ensure adequate facilities for students with special needs.
I took the bold step of merging the Estridge Primary School with the Edgar T. Morris, which of course came for, little licks, but the licks are not bad, because at the end of the day you realize that it was the right decision. And part of that decision as well, apart from the school being a very small school, we had the Cotton Thomas Comprehensive School that was built to accommodate whether 50 students at the time or whatever, but that population has grown up to almost close to 200, I believe, by now. And you had a situation where half the students were going in the morning and half in the afternoon. So God knows what was happening with those half that were there. Now we are able to provide that 8:30 to 4 teaching contact time with those students with those special needs, so that the Estridge Primary School, that is our second campus for our Cotton Thomas Comprehensive students. So that in itself was an accomplishment for the Ministry of Education. And we have taken it even a step further. We have been in dialogue with the government of Taiwan, and they have agreed. Matter of fact, they have started working on designs for us, because I've asked them to build for us our center, our Spectrum Center, and we are going to do the renovation of that school, turning it into 2-in-1 campus. So you'll have those students over there for the Cotton Thomas Comprehensive School, and a much larger equipped, modernized space for our students who are on the spectrum. 2 independent buildings, but in the same space. So that for us is something that we're looking forward to in 2025, 2026 in terms of its completion as well.
Over the course of a child's education, from preschool to high school, teachers spend between 6 and 8 years of total instructional time with them. This accounts for 36.18 to 43.88% of their life up to age 17. Yet we often overlook the profound impact these architects of the future have on our lives, both inside and outside the classroom. Beyond academic instruction, teachers shape children's lives in countless ways, mentoring, offering emotional support, and guiding them through personal challenges. As a former educator, Minister Hanley recognized this and has introduced initiatives like the Teacher Education Award to show the government and nation's gratitude for the selfless role teachers play in shaping the Federation's future.
For me, like as an educator, I recognize that there are times when persons don't get the recognition that is due to them. I am one who don't do things for recognition, I just do it. But after assuming this role and doing my own assessments going around to the school, because I go into my schools very regular, I thought that, you know what, this is the year that we need to recognize our teachers for their hard work. And I put my team on the spot last year, World Teachers Day, while we celebrated in the cocktail. And I was pleased that they were able to get it done for World Teachers Day this year. And what was so nice about it is that there were a number of teachers who were nominated from within their own school and spaces. And they had the finalists, and then eventually they announced the winner. I can only imagine that next year, Ebony, it will be a different energy because everybody would want to make sure that they get this level of a recognition. And what was unique about this, again, and a kudos to the team, we did not leave any teacher or any sector out. We had it from the preschool, both public and private, primary school, secondary school, tertiary level. So everybody would have been included. So I'm very happy that I was able to get the Minister of Education Teacher of the Year award of this year, and I look forward to next year as well.
We shifted gears to explore another crucial area of Dr. Hanley's portfolio: housing and human settlement. From the outset of his administration, Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew emphasized his commitment to transforming St. Kitts and Nevis into a sustainable island state, capable of withstanding the growing impacts of climate change on small island developing states like ours. Deputy Prime Minister Hanley's role in advancing this vision is pivotal. We delved into the prospects for affordable, climate-resilient housing as a cornerstone of the Sustainable Island State agenda.
And this is a very good way to start the conversation, because as we move towards a Sustainable Island State agenda, it is important, of course, with all what you said just now with climate change, it is very important for us to ensure that the homes that we are delivering to our people, they are up to the standard of a sustainable island state. And I am pleased to announce that, yes, we are working in that direction. You would have been aware that the government did sign an agreement with the East Coast Housing Development, who would have brought a new technique to the Federation in terms of housing. This project started, it's not at the speed that we would really want it, but no fault to anyone. These are things that happen whenever you have investment. There's always some sort of setbacks. When you're ready to do something, something happens. But we are going to deliver these homes, and they are going to meet all of the standards that they expected to meet. And like you indicated, we are moving towards ensuring that they're resilient and in terms of the energy. And more and more persons are reaching out to the ministry in terms of techniques, in terms of the possibility of looking at containerized homes and homes built with aluminum and that kind of stuff. So we're exploring all of these opportunities.
The Minister of Housing commended the team at the National Housing Corporation, NHC, the agency responsible for addressing housing needs in St. Kitts. The NHC has been instrumental in expanding access to affordable homes and enhancing citizens' quality of life through improved housing solutions. However, Dr. Hanley highlighted a significant challenge: a troubling rise in delinquent mortgage payments from homeowners who have benefited from NHC programs. Fortunately, over the last 2 years, considerable progress has been made to regularize this issue, bringing hope for a more sustainable housing system.
And I must thank the NHC as well, the leadership at NHC and the board, for the hard work that they have been doing. Because Ebony, when we inherited the NHC, it was in a state that I don't even like to speak about, because I am not a complainer. I just fix things as they go along. But this has been the most sustainable situation of NHC. As you might be aware as well, we offered some resets for persons, and it was a case where you had $12 million out there, and it could be more, but I'm just being reasonable with the figure, who have not been servicing their mortgages. And I put a whole credit department together, never had it before. And they went to work and were able to offer many options to persons. And we were able to get quite a number of the owners to come in and reservice their mortgage, basically asking them, tell me what you're comfortable paying. And I'm happy to report that persons have been coming in. Of course, my objective is to make sure that 100% is compliant and up to date with their mortgages. But we know that there are situations that persons will find themselves in. And our plea has always been, if you find yourself in a situation, let us know at NHC and we will work with you. Because it is not nice for persons to be sleeping night after night in a home and they just feel they don't have to pay for it. That is not where we want to go. And it was a situation where we were strapped for cash. Yes, persons would want us to build a lot of homes, and I want to give everybody an opportunity to own a home. But if persons are not paying, it cuts down on an opportunity for somebody to get another one. But what was real painful over the whole situation is that for the past 2 years, NHC have not missed a payment to Social Security. Every month we pay Social Security $800,000 on our loan that was taken from the former administration for $50 million, and to be quite frank, there is hardly any evidence of what could have happened with the investment. We also pay every 3 months $59,000 to solid waste for the garbage bins that were distributed a few years ago. That has been stuck with NHC. So you see, if we did not have that large sum to be paying out on a monthly basis, we would have been able to roll out homes almost as you click your finger. So that is why it is important for us to continue to remind persons that their priority, when they are given an opportunity to own a home, part of their priority is to ensure that they pay their mortgage. They pay the electricity bill, they pay the water bill, and then they do other things after that. I had a conversation and I marveled at the fact that my mother, she did vending. She sell her drinks, her black pudding, her bananas, her mangoes, and every time she's finished with her sales, she have different containers in the house where she roll up and she put, this is for the water, this is for a little bit every time, and at the end of the day, they are able to make their means work. This is what we want to say to people. In the low-income houses, you have an obligation to ensure that you pay, because you are preventing other persons from benefiting from these homes.
He also urged the public to be cautious of social media sensationalism, which might suggest that the government is falling short on its promises. Dr. Hanley reminded me that before the current Dr. Terence Drew administration, the only other major successful housing initiative in the Federation's history was implemented under the leadership of Dr. Denzel Douglas as Prime Minister.
If I can take you back, memory-wise, the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party is the only party that has ever been the ones to do housing revolution. When you look at 1995, the first set of homes that were built in 2 years of governance, and the former-led government Senior Minister Douglas, he was able to build 30 homes. And of course, over the 20 years, we ramp it up into the thousands, 5,000s, just about. It could even be more. The government changed again in 2015. Their first set of homes were built in 2017. They built 13 homes, 13. The government changed again in 2022. We are now in 2024, and it's not because I am the Minister of Housing, but I guess a lot of it is because of the team that you have working. As of last week, 110 homes have been built through NHC, both from NHC and also those persons who would have gone through the bank in terms of getting the loans from the bank, and they entrusted the building to NHC. So again, you see that a Labour government is on the verge again in delivering houses for the people.
And the houses that are being built now are houses that are being built for the time. 20 years ago, those homes were perfect for the world we lived in. We weren't dealing with global warming, and so some of the implementations and considerations were very different. Why climate smart homes? Because we have seen a lovely model home there just as you're passing into Connery on the right-hand side. My team and I had the opportunity to visit it, and it was open for the public to visit when it was initially launched. What makes these homes now unique?
Both the space, the method that is being used in terms of the construction of it, and of course the resilience of it. The CEO would normally say that it can withstand a category 5, a category 10 hurricane. I won't really go there. But when you've, as you said, you visited, you would see the difference in terms of the construction. It is also one that is accommodative, in that you, when you catch yourself, you can just put to the top. All of the pipes and everything are run in a particular way, so there wouldn't be any need to be digging out or cutting out of any walls. It is just a continuation. And of course, you'll realize that those came also with the water tanks, where the water would run from the roof straight into the tank, so you have, water storage. And of course, they are affordable in comparison to the mortar and bricks, the traditional ones. These are affordable. But of course, the option would also be what the client would want as well.
The reality is, as we continue to develop and expand as a nation, the population continues to grow. Everybody won't be able to have their own home. Some communities, based on the way they were designed 40, 50, 60 years ago or more, will not be able to have a home. And so there have to be consideration for this in terms of meeting the housing needs of the population. Duplexes, apartment complexes, building upwards as opposed to outwards. What is your position on this?
this is exactly the direction in which we are taking the housing revolution as well, recognizing, like you rightly said, that everybody would not be able to get a single home. And at the same breath, because of the geographical location, lands are not available in some areas. And I speak specifically to my constituency and to my sister Marsha's constituency. Number one and number two don't have any more land available in terms of building any homes of such. So what we are doing in particular in East Basse, as we started the revitalization initiative, in terms of modernizing the community, we started the project on East Street, where we have those homes that were built by the Bratcher-led administration some maybe 70 something years ago. I was told, one lady told me she's 70 and she grew up in East Street, so, and the house is still there. Now, every election, you always heard politicians saying we are going to fix, we are going to give them their title, we're going to do that. And there are always challenges on that. It so happened that when I took office and given the Ministry of Housing, I ran with wanting to make sure that I make a difference in that area. And I am happy to report that by next month, the middle of next month, the first 4 apartment buildings will be officially opened, and we are going to start the construction of another one, because the idea is every year or as often as I can, I want to be able to take out one and rebuild. So over a 5 years period, 6 years, you might very well have a brand new look in that area. Same, we are working on the West Street project. Now, you will be aware that the former government, through the Venezuelan PV...
The Petrocaribe.
Yeah, Petrocaribe agreement, they were able to donate or deliver some homes to the people in that area. We encountered quite a lot of issues with those apartments. I guess it was just to fulfill a particular mandate without any proper view of ensuring that things are done correctly. So we have a situation over there which we have started to correct, where the sewage is a problem. There are times when persons' apartments are flooded out with not just water, but with every other thing you could think about. And we are paying almost $1,800 ever so often to pump the tanks, the septic tanks that were put in place, and they are not conducive, they're not the right type for that. So these are things that we are fixing while we continue to build. The plans for the West Street end that we were able to demolish, those plans have been completed, and I am just awaiting my official copy. But from what I've been told and what I saw, it is a beautiful space that is about to be developed. We are starting with 4 floors, and I believe over time, as you rightly say, we are going to have to go to higher floors.
Access to adequate housing is a fundamental human right. Aware that not everyone is immediately able to own a home, Dr. Hanley revealed that the government has devised a novel initiative to address the housing needs of this group while keeping the path open for future home ownership.
Now, one of the things that the NHC will be doing as well, we recognize that there are persons who will not be able at their present situation to own a low-income home. But we are about improving their standard of living So what we are going to be doing as well is doing a number of rental apartments where persons can be housed there, pay their mortgage, their rent or whatever until they reach the stage where they are ready for ownership. And part of the new thrust of our apartments and our homes, first-time home owners in particular, we're going to be putting them through a comprehensive program where they are taught about, money management and their mortgage, investment and that kind of stuff, so that they can see the importance of that ownership. And of course, we have situation, Ebony, down at the Gardens housing, where those homes were built in the 80s or early 90s. And some of the interior work has been very dilapidated. We started repairing or renovating those apartments, and we have not raised the rent or anything to the clients down there, the tenants down there. We have a few more to complete. We have the monies, so we are going to be doing work up until December, during the Christmas, so that persons can have a comfortable space. Now that is a $750,000 investment. That's not a little bit of money. That's quite a lot of money that we're investing in ensuring that persons are comfortable in this space. And of course, my plea would be as well, I need to be comfortable with you paying me the mortgage so that I'll be able to build more of these apartments for other persons to benefit.
Another significant project being championed by both Prime Minister Drew and Deputy Prime Minister Hanley is the eradication of the country's lost remaining outdoor latrines. Through the Sanitation Assistance Program, citizens and residents are being provided with access to dignified and sanitary bathroom facilities. This effort, led by the NHC, is being offered entirely free of charge to those in need.
You know that we started the latrine eradication in terms of our getting rid of those pit latrines as we talk. We are fully on course with that. I think it's 2025 we are declared that nobody in the country should have, unless. I must say, however, though, we are having some challenges with some landlords. For whatever reason, they don't want the bathrooms to be added to their homes or on their properties. Now, this is something that the Ministry of Health would have to look into, because if it is not suitable for people to be living, they would have to tell them that they can no longer rent these properties. So I am out there working, my ministry. We are working. I guess persons say sometimes that we need to tell the story, but sometimes the story is right in front of us. But we have become a society that I recognize that don't like the sweet, real story. They prefer the gossip and the lies to excite the environment and the atmosphere. But I want to thank all of my workers in my various ministries for the work that they have been doing so far.
And you're also very much responsible for ecclesiastical and faith-based affairs. You are very centered and spiritual, a regular member and active member of your church.
That's correct.
So tell me now about, it may not be the largest, but it certainly is important, because we are a Christian society, and in large part we do have other faiths living among us.
Yes.
But we are a Christian society in St. Kitts and Nevis. So tell me what your agenda has been in respect of those areas.
And I totally agree with you. We have been a Christian society, and we continue to make sure that we lift up the name of Jesus. And I am not ashamed of lifting up the name of Jesus. But when we started this ministry, like you rightly say, it's a very small ministry, but it has been a very impactful ministry. We, of course, you would realize that 2 years ago, very early in my tenure, I pushed for the National Day of Prayer being established, and we were happy to get that done, supported by both opposition and government. So the 28th of February every year we celebrate this as our National Day of Prayer, and we move forward to even taking it to another level. P.S. Brown and her team, very small, they have been doing a very good job in keeping the relationship among the pastors and the church leaders. And I must say, again, Ebony, I'm not saying it's because of me, but this has been the better time, you can say, or the best time where you can see the churches more united. When we call a meeting, you have up to 75 representatives. You know, they are really, really supportive, and we, from the ministry, was able to initiate some new things that has never happened. We had our pastors conference where we brought all of our pastors together, because sometimes they give out so much to other people, and there comes a time when they just need to have poured into them. So this is something that happened last year, and we intend for it to continue. You had a prayer breakfast that we had with our pastors, church leaders, and these are things that keep our community connected, because God is a God of everybody, and it is not any territorial, it's not any fight in any religion, because at the end of the day, when we all get that knock to enter into eternity, God don't know Anglicans, God don't know Methodists, He don't know Hindus, He don't know. He just know you as an individual. So part of our thrust as well is to work on developing the individual, not only as a pastor, but members of his church or their churches as well. And of course, you know, in May of this year, we supported the Jesus in the City concept that came from Canada, local again. And when we met with her, I had no doubt in my mind that this is something that the government would have lent its support to, because from a ministry standpoint, we had something similar that we were going to do. And I said, we don't need to do two. Let us throw our support behind one. And it was a tremendous success. Unfortunately, I wasn't here to witness it physically. I viewed it online from Taiwan. And these are some of the activities that we hope to continue into next year. We have our pastors that we are assigning, or some have already been assigned to our schools, because that's how I grew up. A pastor was assigned to my school. They were always there. Not all the time they took the assembly, but you always knew that this was your pastor for your school. This is the kind of thing we are trying to reintroduce in our communities, especially as we try to battle with the challenges of gang violence and all of those kind of stuff. So it is not just about praying, but it is about ensuring that the presence is always there and is always felt. So we look forward to the continued support. One of our biggest supporters, I must say, is the late Priska Heiliger. She was laid to rest there on Thursday, and she preached at the last National Day of Prayer. And she was a tremendous support, not only to the ministry, but to me as an individual, because she knew that I was a Christian in the church and everything. So she felt that her part of her obligation was to make sure that she pray, and she covered me, which she did as often as she could. And I remember on several occasions she would say to me, "Minister, you're doing good. You're doing good. Just make sure you hold on to God." But I felt honored with her saying it, but like I said, I don't do anything for any kind of recognition. I just want to do what God expects me to do, because at the end of the day, I am accountable to the Almighty. So we are doing a good work again in ecclesiastical and faith-based affairs.
Dr. Hanley shares a deep bond with the people of East Bastair. Born and raised in Newtown, he has never forgotten his roots. He remains engaged in humble service to his constituency one family, who steadfastly support and admire him. I asked him how he balances his unwavering presence in the community with the demands of his national responsibilities.
I am a man of faith and I do a lot of praying. So although I am honored to be called the Deputy Prime Minister, and I deem it a privilege for me to be in this position that God would have ordained for me to do, lending my support to the Prime Minister, and of course when he is not available, to fit in for him. Sometimes I must say, Ebony, the schedule is very hectic, but as a scout as well, I must be prepared at all times. So I try my best to facilitate as much as I can. But you're right, there must be a balance, because I'm also a politician and I have been consistent with what I do in my constituency. I have not changed from being the Geoffery, and that is not me trying to make me look like I am somebody different. But the things that I grew up doing, I still do them. I still go on a regular basis, checking on my seniors in my constituency and my neighborhood, cleaning out their homes, assisting them with washing their linens and that kind of stuff. And there are times when they are sick and their loved ones don't have the guts I would use. I would go and feed them. There was one lady in particular, I won't call the name, but she wouldn't take any food from her own granddaughter, which was painful for me. And the granddaughter would come by my house and say, I'm trying to feed mommy and she not taking it, and I would go. And as soon as I sound my voice, she would say, yes, Geoffery, I'm ready to eat. And you know, I do these things. I still find time to sit on the block with the people, because of course, there is where you get a lot of information. Many of the ideas that I came up with for my local manifesto, I speak life into East Bastair. Many came from sitting on the block. I spend time visiting on a regular basis my constituents. Yes, it is a different feeling as a minister going to the homes as opposed to when I wasn't elected, because you had more time. So you could have spent a whole hour in one house. Now it is a little bit challenging to do that, but I have been connected with my constituents and my constituency. I have meetings, and just the other day, Honorable Congress and myself had a meeting with some persons from the southeast, because as we try to fix the water issues, we must stay in contact with those persons who are affected by this situation, and they are relatively pleased with what we are doing, and they recognize and they see the vision. So after we would have had the commissioning in a few years of the desalination plant, which happens to be situated in East Bastair, this situation for the Frigate Bay and the Southeast in particular would no longer be a major issue. We have made some improvements, but we are not yet where we ought to be. I have my regular one-on-one in my constituency, and the last Friday in the month I work from my constituency office. If I have appointments, I stay there, see the appointments, and then I use that as an opportunity to go to particular persons and that kind of stuff. For the past 7 years, I've been celebrating everybody in East Bastair who have their birthdays. I have not been able to call all of them, but I've put all of them on Facebook, and those that I have working numbers for, I would call them, and some of them would be so shocked and they would be like, oh, this is so nice, I really appreciate it. So these are the things that I continue to do, and I am one who always welcome criticism. I say to people, if you see something or something about me, I say something or whatever, don't be afraid to point it out to me, because I am not a thin-skinned person. I like these things because I strive to make sure that I improve.
MP Hanley also highlighted how he leverages programs from other government ministries to benefit his constituents, always ensuring their dignity remains a priority.
I have as well some constituency empowerment officers who have been doing an excellent job in the constituency, and my office manager who have been keeping me abreast of what's happening. And I like the aggression, because there are times when I have to go and sit down before them and say, well, this is what needs to happen. This is the person concerns, and we have been doing what we have to do. Yes, I agree, sometimes persons might be saying they're not seeing, but certain things you're doing, I don't think we need to showcase them either on social media. I continue with my regular hospital visits. I've been doing that even before I came into politics. And Comrade Earl Clark, while he was dying, he asked me to make sure that I continue this. This is something that everybody knew Mr. Clark for. I know I can't be Mr. Clark, but I am trying to make sure that I stay in contact with the persons at the hospitals.
Dr. Hanley highlighted an issue particularly close to his heart: the care and respect for seniors. As someone deeply devoted to community service and now serving as the Minister of Aging, he expressed his determination to ensure our elderly can enjoy their twilight years as honored members of society.
We have in our constituency, Ebenezer, part of my passion is taking care of the seniors. Yes, I was youth director. Youth is also my passion, but I have a strong passion for the seniors. And through the STEP program, we have our STEP home care officers who go to all of the homes of seniors that are brought to our attention or who we pick up. So there isn't any need for anybody to be out there wanting that assistance and don't reach out, because apart from the STEP home care officers or home care providers, and they are certified both locally and through the River Community College in Canada. We also work very closely with those home care officers for social development. So we have the resources out there, so there isn't any need for anybody to say they don't have nobody to look after their seniors. What I have been advocating for, maybe this is the forum for us to pitch it, is that it is not right either for government to be taking care of seniors, and some of these seniors who would have made their contributions in whatever areas would have had properties and all these kind of stuff, and their loved ones are not taking care of them. Their loved ones have these properties on rent. They enjoy their social security. So part of my ministry, I am moving towards, I don't know how quickly we might be able to get it done in terms of whether by law or whatever, that when we come across these seniors and they have these properties and they end up in the Canadian home, or they end up having to be supported by government have access to these resources, because it is not right for these things to be happening. So I am an advocate as well for our seniors in terms of the aging with dignity, and I will do whatever I have to do for them.
Dr. Hanley, never one to rest on his laurels, outlined initiatives designed to boost economic activity and promote family-centered engagement within East Basseterre. These efforts prioritize supporting micro and small businesses, fostering growth and empowerment at the grassroots level, while also creating safe, welcoming spaces for residents to enjoy quality recreational time together.
There are a number of small projects that I have been doing in my constituency as well. There are times when we go around to small businesses in our constituency and we just drop certain things. If they are cooking, you drop them a case of chicken or something. If they have a bar, you drop them some cases of drinks or even a bottle of drink. Not that you can give them everything that I have, but this is just a way of us staying in touch with them. We are setting up our picnic area in the constituency under nice shaded tree. We are turning it into a picnic area where we're going to have our wall tables and benches and a barbecue grill stand so that families can go there and have their little picnic. Because when I drive down there, very often I see people pull up there with their vehicle having their lunch. So I said, okay, this is an opportunity for us to do something in that space. If you drive through East Basia, you would realize that we started erecting back up the street name signs. We have done Ponds Pasture down in New Ponds Ponds Extension area, and we are going up in the Taylors area because we want to bring about the awareness of the streets, because the person just said, oh, I live Ponds Extension, but they don't know that there is an Ivy Baptiste on Ponds Extension, or Kathleen Issa, or Kathleen Julius, that kind of stuff. So we're trying to bring about that awareness, so we continue to do that. I made a commitment that I want to deliver some kiddies park, and we are going to be doing that before the year is out. I do my regular drive-through. I don't think any other politician has ever done this. We, on certain occasion, I just drive the vehicle through, greeting people, wishing them, whether it's Merry Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, or whatever the occasion is, we normally would, we would do that. And these are some of the things I stay doing in terms of the connection, because sometimes it is not the everyday going by somebody's house, but if you can do certain things and somebody here, they'll be able to say, well, I heard him in the area and that kind of stuff. So I continue to stay connected. Like I say, you must strike the balance, because at the end of the day, the position of Deputy Prime Minister don't get to my head, and I have an obligation to make sure that I work in my constituency so that they can see me as the same Geoffery, so re-election would not be an issue.
Firmly rooted in his faith, Dr. Hanley added that worshiping regularly with his constituents has been a source of mutual strength, deepening their bond and keeping their relationship authentic and grounded.
And of course, on Sundays, as often as I can, I go to church just about every Sunday. I have not been, but I was lucky to be able to be in my church back to back on a Sunday. But normally every Sunday I'm invited to some service or something. I do stay connected. 2 Sundays ago, I was invited to bring the word in church, and I was able to preach a message that you should fight through your floods, the storm will end. Basically encouraging persons, no matter what you're going through, which is expected because God allows us to go through certain things, but He wants us to know that He's going to be there with us regardless of what we are going through. So I am still connected in terms of my faith, and I am endeavoring to work even harder throughout my constituency. When I look at my local manifesto, at the right time I will give the report, but I am almost completed with the things that I said I was going to do, and this is a 5 years plan, and this is just 2 years. So I am well on target. And of course, East Bass, know that I am with them. They know that I am with them. But of course, you would always have persons, for whatever reason, the expectations might be a little different. So you have to also work through their expectations. And I do people. It doesn't matter your political divide. Once I can assist, I make myself available to assist.
Of all the titles Dr. Hanley holds, the ones he treasures most are husband and father. His demeanor visibly softened as our discussion shifted to his family, a clear reflection of the deep love he holds for them. Yet it was equally evident how fiercely he protects them, striving to shield them from the harsh realities that often accompany life in the public eye.
And I must say special thank you to my beautiful wife of 27 years. I would normally accredit that, but we are married for 25. And my children, Gitanjali, who is in university, Naftalia, who is also in university, and Adei, who is here with me still. They never liked this kind of life. But because of my position, I basically forced them into something that they did not see themselves doing. But I must say that they have lent their support in every aspect of this journey. My wife has been there with me all throughout. Anything I needed even before my election, she made sure I had it. She paid for things that I did not even know she went and paid for, and that kind of stuff. And my children, like I said, whenever I'm doing anything, they'll be, okay, Daddy, I'll deal with this and that kind of stuff. And it so happened that we are a cooking family. So whenever there is a dinner or any function, most of the time my wife, who is an excellent cook, she takes on the responsibility of cooking those pots and pots of food. And of course, we have other persons in the constituency who always support. Ebony, I cannot tell you how happy I am to be the representative of East Bastia and the support that I have from my constituents, my executive team, my events planning committee. I mean, they work extremely hard, and they even work harder whenever it is close to an election. So you will see them getting ready to start revving up things as we get closer. But I want to thank all of them, all of my supporters, even some persons who admitted to me they were not Labour supporters, but they voted for me because I asked some of them for their personal vote. Those persons as well, I want to thank them, and I ask them for their continued support and their guidance, because some of them would call me and share certain things with me. And I try my best to make sure I live up when they call about an area that needs cleaning, and we make sure we send in the crew or whatever, because in order for you to build a community, you need everybody. And I am about everybody, and in this case, every vote counts, and I'm after every one of them.
As we concluded the interview for this episode of The Nine, an era of transformation, Dr. Hanley parted ways with me with this poignant reflection.
Well, for me, the legacy that I would want to leave behind in regards to my constituency is one of strength, a very strong constituency, sound in its programs that we would continue, or others would continue after, and of course a newness in terms of the look, because as you're speaking to me, I am just imagining what Newtown will look like after we would have gotten some of those lands to purchase and start building our 3-story apartment buildings and shops to the bottom and that kind of stuff. So it is a legacy of greatness I would want. And just as how a legacy was laid for me, our foundation was laid for me by Dr. Earl Assey Martin, former Deputy Prime Minister, it is one that I have been building on, and it is my intention that when my tenure comes to an end, maybe when I'm close to 70, it is such a foundation that whoever takes over from me, it will be a direct shoot-off, because I've been blessed to have met a constituency or a branch that was well organized. It's not a competition, but I don't think any constituency has a better organized constituency than East Bastia. We have always set the standards, And we're not competing, but we're just working together with others. So we have pulled others on board, and we have assisted many other constituencies in terms of raising their bar. So that's part of the legacy. And of course, on our overall as the Deputy Prime Minister, is that persons would remember me for who I am as a person, not as a show, but as a person, in terms of the lives that I would have touched and those that I still will be touching.
With those moving words from Dr. Geoffery Hanley, Deputy Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, we conclude this edition of The Nine, an era of transformation. Thank you for joining me. I'm Ebony Brandon.